Go check. Hopefully you guys should be able to hear me. Thank you everyone for tuning in. And we have already got 170 people watching. Thank you everyone for making it up this early. And yeah, we are 30 minutes away from the start of Free Practice 3 here in Australia. And a lot to look forward to. Hello MCG, nice to see you in the chat. Hello Sarah and H2O Lizard. Here we are back once again for some Formula 1, and yeah, very very soon we will be we'll have some cars onto the track. We've got OG Ninja and Chaz as well. Fantastic. Okie dokes. So, it is currently very, very hot out in Australia. We have got one of our moderators, in fact, at this race circuit, giving us some on-track updates directly to my Instagram DMs. So thanks, Kiaz, for the on-track updates. Track temperature is looking nice and toasty, 40 degrees. It's currently 32 degrees air temperature. It is very very hot in Melbourne today, and track temperature is expected to rise up to 45 degrees once the session actually rolls around in the next half an hour or so. And we've currently got the Formula 2 cars out on track. They are just following the safety car here for the final lap of this race. In fact, the safety car is ending on the final lap of their races. 20 laps in the Formula 3 race, sorry, not Formula 2 race. And the safety car is coming into the pits on the last lap. But apart from that, all of the Formula 1 cars in the garage getting ready to go out for the final practice session before we have qualifying, of course. So this is very, very exciting indeed. Now, all eyes are on the top four teams. Which one of the top four teams seems to be the fastest team? Which one seems to have the performance above the others? We'll have to wait and see. But if we look at some of the news articles and what their news articles are saying, then we can get a bit of a understanding into potentially which team could be better. Red Bull admit to a lack of pace after Friday practice. Both Verstappen and Lawson. Lawson just says he's too slow. Verstappen says that the car hasn't got enough pace. So Red Bull seem to be out of the running, but of course, we never know with these sort of things, and we could have a Red Bull could just be totally lying. After all, they did end up behind the Racing Bulls in Free Practice 2. And also some other things, folks. Red Bull brought 15 upgrades from their car from pre-season testing. All of the other teams, everyone did bring upgrades. McLaren, Ferrari, Mercedes all brought a few upgrades from pre-season testing to the Australian Grand Prix. But Red Bull brought 15, an absolutely huge number of upgrades. The thing is, when you bring such a huge number of upgrades, 15 upgrades, you can't exactly call it an upgrade. You call them updates, and until you go out onto the track and you realise, oh, this actually does make our car faster, it may not work, and it may just be making the car slower. So there's a bit of a trade-off to be having there for the Red Bull team, and yeah, well, we don't actually know if their upgrades are working. They don't know if their upgrades are working, but we'll find out soon enough. If we look at some of the data between the Ferrari drivers, we know that it looks like Charles Leclerc is the quicker of the two, at least as of now. Lewis Hamilton hasn't fully built up to the pace required in the Ferrari. You've got to give him a little bit of slack. He is a 7-time world champion, but he has also spent the last more than 10 years, I think, driving with Mercedes engines for Mercedes teams. And it's going to take a little bit of a while before we can get totally settled in to the Ferrari. All right. Also, folks, if you haven't hit the like button, then be sure to do so. It really does help out the channel. Currently, the air temperature, the data on screen is the air temperature and the track temperature from yesterday in the free practice 2 session. We haven't had the data come through for FP3, but according to the person that I know that is on the circuit, it is 32 degrees air temperature, 40 degrees track temperature. So yeah, it should be fairly hot, to be honest. Also, folks, I would like to let you guys know there is currently a free trial running for F1 TV. For F1 TV and F1 TV Pro, and for F1 TV Premium, there is a 1 month free trial. And so if you guys are interested in checking that, sorry, not a 1 month free trial, a 1 week free trial. So if you want to watch the Australian Grand Prix for free, then F1 TV Pro, there's just a link I've just posted now in the chat. You guys can go ahead and check that out, and it's obviously totally free. It's a free trial, of course. But yeah, you get to watch all of the data for the Australian Grand Prix for free. I'm not 100% sure if you need to sign up for at least a month or a year, but if you guys want to go ahead and check that out, then it would very much be appreciated. It helps out the channel as well if you guys get the full yearly membership. So yeah. I unfortunately am not using F1 TV Premium here in the UK. You can't get F1 TV Premium, but I've checked out all of its features, and it's very, very good. So I would highly recommend, if you guys are interested in getting it, especially right now, considering it's the start of the season, you get the yearly thing. You save a bunch of money compared to paying for every month, and you get the entire season as well. Exotech, thank you for the $20 donation. Very much is appreciated for tea and coffee this weekend. It's finally here. Indeed, it is finally here. Thank you very, very much for the donation. Cheers so much, buddy. You've donated so much throughout, last season, pre-season testing, so many gifted memberships. It is really, really, really kind of you. So thank you very, very much. And yeah, in fact, I'm going to be honest with you. I had my alarm set for 15 minutes before the stream was meant to start, and somehow, while I was in my sleep, I accidentally pressed the snooze button on my alarm before the alarm even went off, or maybe it made the tiniest bit of noise, my hand just accidentally snoozed it, but I absolutely did not wake up, and I just by chance randomly woke up 7 minutes before the stream was meant to go live, and I checked the time. I was like, why has my alarm not gone off? And then I had a little notification on my phone saying alarm snoozed. I was like, how did that happen? Yeah, but here we are, nice and awake in time for FP3. Hopefully the same will happen for qualifying as well. I'll set alarm on my phone and on something else as well. I'll probably set one on an iPad, or I don't know, or on my watch or something. But I really need to make sure I wake up. F1 TV Pro is glitchy. F1 TV Pro, if it's not working for now, it's because all of the data on F1 TV Pro only starts 15 minutes before the session comes in. So that's normally why I'm also waiting until 15 minutes or 10 minutes before the session actually goes live to refresh the data and to get the updated data. So if the app isn't working for you, it will, but it will work in only 5 minutes or 10 minutes. Yeah. All right. I slept through my alarm recently for work, but luckily woke up just in time. Yeah, exactly. I've just woke up. Exactly, woke up just in time as well. Subconscious was working overtime. All right, what are your predictions for quali? Well, I can predict that this is going to be a very, very close qualifying. A bit of a boring question. I know that you want me to say, oh, I think Ferrari are going to be quickest or McLaren are going to be quickest, but I can tell you for a fact that this qualifying session is going to be one of the closest qualifying sessions we've seen in a very, very long time. For the opening race of the season, it's going to be super duper tight. Yeah. All right. If Oscar gets P1 in the race, I'm going to be very, very happy. Yeah, I mean, of course, it's Oscar's home race. There are so many of his fans that have come to cheer him on today, and for tomorrow as well. It would be absolutely amazing for him, for his confidence, for the team, to win the first race of the season. But let's see what will happen, and do McLaren have the performance to be able to do that? All right. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, thank you everyone for tuning in. We are now only 18 minutes away from the start of Free Practice 3. If you haven't hit the like button, please be sure to do so. It really does help out the channel. It gives it a nice little boost before we get underway for the main part of the season, of course, qualifying and the race. And yeah, let's keep this good energy going. I'm actually feeling a little bit less tired than I was yesterday at this point in time, because I've got a little bit more sleep. So yeah, doing pretty well actually. Currently in the UK it is 1:12 a.m. So yeah, 1:12 a.m. indeed. Very, very late. But I'm sure I'll cope. After all, I'm a university student, and university students do have a habit of staying up quite late. Yeah, so it should be fine. Right, let's run through a little bit more news. So if we are to go off some of the how do you say it? The simulation runs, the quali runs, the race runs that some of the teams have done. I wouldn't say there's been loads of race runs, loads of representative ones as well. It looks like in theory that McLaren are 0.2 faster than Ferrari in both the race pace and in the simulation runs. Now, both Piastri came out. Piastri came out the practice session saying, I would say today was pretty encouraging, and he thinks the pace is pretty solid. There's a few things to change in the car, but the underlying pace seems strong. That's what Piastri said. Norris also said it's definitely a good start to the weekend. We've got a good baseline, so they are fairly happy. However, Ferrari are also looking in pretty good shape, especially Charles Leclerc. Looks nice and confident in the car. No sort of issues that Lewis Hamilton was having. Hamilton was over the radio, I think, in FP2 complaining about the car not doing exactly what he would like. But Leclerc was pretty dialed in. Red Bull say that they're lacking pace. We don't really know what Mercedes are saying. They're a bit of an unknown right now. But Ferrari, Mercedes, Red Bull all seem to be within a tenth of each other in the race runs and in the quali runs. It's just McLaren that apparently have an edge ahead of everyone else. However, I wouldn't trust the data. The data very often says one thing and then we see another thing, because especially in the first race of the season, the teams have a habit of hiding and protecting what their true pace is. So I would not put it past Mercedes or even Red Bull to come out and get pole position. We will just have to wait and see what happens. All right. Yeah, 810 people tuned in. That is very much appreciated, folks. And we are now 15 minutes away from the start of Free Practice 3. Do you think you see Norris being prioritised over Piastri this season? That's a good question, actually, and I think the same thing, that same question could actually be applied to the Ferrari team as well. Both these drivers, Phil Ferrari and McLaren, are very, very confident, very quick, very competent, and both of them have a good shot of going for a potential championship, going for potential race wins and podiums. So the question remains, when will the team start prioritising a driver over another? And I think in the first race of the season, there's absolutely going to be no team orders. There's not going to be Ferrari coming over the radio to Hamilton to say, "Oh, get out the way for Leclerc," or Leclerc to get out the way for Hamilton. And the same thing for McLaren. That's just not going to happen at the first race of the season. However, let's say we get to race number 8 or race number 9, and there's a clear quicker driver coming out of the pack. Last season we saw it was Lando Norris was doing quite well, and he was outperforming Piastri by a fairly significant margin on multiple occasions. So when the championship started getting discussed and points, started mattering, then it was very clear. You're going to give Lando Norris priority because he's got more points in the championship and he has theoretically a better chance of winning the championship. So yeah, you would. It would be quite straightforward, really. Once you get to round number 6, 7, 8, depending on how close the championship is, or how close the performance is between all of the teams. If we have 6 different race winners by the time we get to round number 6, then it's still everyone's game, and I don't think anyone's going to get prioritized. But it depends. There'll be a certain threshold, I can't tell you this. The teams will have to decide. But once one driver is, say, 30 points ahead of another driver or 20 points ahead of another driver, that is when the prioritization will begin. Yeah. All right. Qualifying. When is qualifying? So from this moment in time, wherever you are in the world, qualifying will be taking place in 4 hours and 3 hours and 20 minutes. 3 hours and 40 minutes. Let me just double check that. Yeah, qualifying starts in 3 hours and 40 minutes, depending on obviously wherever you are in the world, that's when it starts. But of course now in 12 minutes time, we will have free practice 3. In fact, let me just refresh the data and hopefully we have the data. Oh, nothing's come through just yet. Maybe we'll get the data in a little bit then. Yeah. All right. Let's see, what else is going on? Are you guys on the Sainz hype train? I mean, a lot of drivers are on the Sainz hype train. In fact, I think, the official statement from Williams is that they aim to be sort of a nuisance to the top 4 teams, given the huge progress that they've made over the winter break. James Vowles has come out and said the team's made a lot of progress. They've made a very big leap, and they're sort of aiming to be now a nuisance to the to the top 4 teams. So if that's where they're going to be, then ideally both drivers make it through into Q3 today, and then we've already got we've got the Q3 decided, the top 4 teams plus Williams. But I don't think it's going to be that easy. I think there might be a couple of hiccups here and there. Liam Lawson, Kimi Antonelli, will they be able to deliver under all of the pressure? Will we see some mistakes? Will we see some red flags? It's all to play for here in Melbourne. All right. Who do you think is going to be world champion? Honestly, I can't tell you. I cannot tell you. Before qualifying happens at the start of the season, there is no way I have any idea of who's going to be world champion. Even if I saw the first race of the season last year and saw Max Verstappen dominate, the championship changed within a matter of 10 races, and then McLaren are the fastest team. Red Bull were the ones chasing them down. So yeah, I cannot say with any certainty who's going to win the championship, given how close all the drivers are going to be. All right. Also, folks, we are getting pretty close to 125k subs. So if you guys have not hit the subscribe button, then be sure to do so. Hopefully, we can hit 125k subs by the end of the stream. Ideally by the end of this stream. If not, then by the end of qualifying. But now we are 10 minutes away from the start of free practice 3. Pre-practice 3, what does that mean? It's going to be qualifying simulations mostly from start to end. With this higher track temperature and the rain still forecast to fall for tomorrow, it's unlikely that we're going to see a lot of race runs, because the teams know that the race runs aren't going to particularly matter with track temperature so much lower that tomorrow and air temperature so much lower, and most likely the track also being wet. It's not going to be particularly useful to the teams to be doing lots of race runs. Okay, Exoteric, once again, thank you for the $5 donation. Can you explain, do teams focus on or favour drivers or constructors championships in their season strategies? I'm going to be honest, technically the team should care about the Constructors' Championship. However, there is so much more, by the fans especially, there's so much more emphasis put on the Drivers' Championship than there is on the Constructors' Championship. I really wouldn't put it past the teams to sort of care a little bit more about the drivers, because after all, the teams want eyes on them and the sponsors want eyes on them, and McLaren won the drivers championship, the constructors championship last year, but really how much attention did they get on them at the end of the season? They were a quick team, don't get me wrong, but Max Verstappen still went and won that championship. Loads of people still saw all the Red Bull sponsors, so they do obviously want to prioritize constructors points, but we've seen this time and time again. Red Bull will compromise, when they have the opportunity. So if you remember back to 2021, Red Bull did not care whatsoever about winning the Constructors' Championship. It didn't really mean much to them, because still, in all of the headlines, what do you remember from 2021? The incredible battle between Max Verstappen and Lewis Hamilton for the World Championship. You don't really remember that, Mercedes actually won the Constructors. Yeah, so the teams, of course, are meant to care about the constructors, and in the midfield and all of the other teams, they do. But once you get right to the top of the pecking order, all of the eyes are on Drivers' Championship, and that's what the teams go for. Yeah, this is MCG put it quite nicely. The Drivers' Championship is much more prestigious, and the Constructors' Championship is sort of a runners-up prize. That is a great way of putting it. All right, so yeah, we've got the track temperature data and the air temperature data. Air temperature 31.6 degrees, track temperature 38.3 degrees. Yeah. All right, I'm going to have a quick sip of water. I'll be back in just a second. But thank you everyone for tuning in, and we'll be getting underway very, very shortly for free practice 3 here in Australia. Oliver Behrman's car has been repaired. He did have to get his gearbox replaced and his engine replaced. A huge crash for him in FP1. I had to sit out of FP2 because the car wasn't in a fit state to drive. But not an ideal way to start the season really for Oliver Behrman, crashing his car and then having to replace the gearbox and engine even before getting into the first qualifying session. Not great, to be honest. He will be taking place for sure though. Also, folks, if you guys are interested in F1 Fantasy, there is a link in the description to join the F1 Gamer Fantasy League. We've got a nice league. I think we've got around 50 or so people that are in it as of when I last checked. I'll just double check now how many people we've got in it now. But yeah, there's a link in the description of the chat. Not of the chat, sorry. The link in the description of the stream to F1 Fantasy. And if you guys want to check that out, then go ahead and do so. In fact, I'll read out my team just after I drink some water. All right, just give me a sec. I'll be back. All right. So my team for the F1 league, we've currently got, how many people have we got? 62 people that have joined the league. So that's very nice of you guys that have joined. But my team is Max Verstappen, Oliver Behrman, Fernando Alonso, Nico Hulkenberg, Carlos Sainz, and then the constructors are Ferrari and Alpine. Now, the reason I picked Ferrari and not Red Bull or McLaren or Mercedes is because, well, the constructors is, of course, both drivers. And if you think about it, both for Red Bull and for Mercedes, you don't have a particular guarantee that Lawson and Antonelli are going to do well. So they're not going to be scoring as many points in overall as a team. So Ferrari have the upper hand, and then of course you do have McLaren that have two very quick drivers. However, McLaren just cost a little bit more than the Ferrari did, so I ended up with going with the Ferrari. And then the reason I've picked some of the drivers that I've picked Max Verstappen, Fernando Alonso, Nico Hulkenberg, and Carlos Sainz. All four of those drivers have a fairly good chance of out-qualifying their teammate. I think it's fairly straightforward for Max Verstappen and for Fernando Alonso, and probably for Nico Hulkenberg as well. They're up against, well, Max Verstappen and Nico Hulkenberg are up against rookies. Fernando Alonso's up against Lance Stroll, so he might as well be up against a rookie. And Carlos Sainz, of course, is against Alex Albon, but I think Carlos Sainz is just slightly better than Alex Albon. So we should. So I suspect I'll be getting quite a few points for being for out qualifying your teammate and being quicker than your teammate and ahead of your teammate. And then for Behrman, I've just picked Behrman and Alpine really because they are both good choices and they fit within the 100 million cost cap budget. So. All right. Now, we've got 1,400 people tuning in. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in. If you haven't hit the like button, please be sure to do so. It hugely helps out the channel and the stream. Thank you, everyone, for hitting the like button if you have already. And let me just check the weather in Melbourne here. Are we going to be getting any rain today? I know for a fact we should be having rain tomorrow. Rain today, however, does seem rather unlikely. In fact, the chance for rain today is 0%, but the chance of rain tomorrow is looking more like 60-70% here for the Grand Prix, which should be fantastic. All right, yeah, no rain today. Nice and hot as you would expect Australia to be, but tomorrow is meant to be very, very rainy. So, all right. Did RB look faster than Red Bull yesterday? I mean, according to the data, yes, they were. I'm sure when Red Bull turn up their engines, they're going to be quicker than the RB. Otherwise, it will be a bit of a clown show, to be honest, if the RB team was faster than the Red Bull. Yeah. All right, a minute 45 now, and the drivers will be making their way out of the pit lane. Hello from a very hot turn 12. Hello, Aussie mofo. Nice to see that you are at the track. All right, yeah, qualifying is at 1 a.m. for me. Well, yeah, so qualifying isn't, the Australian Grand Prix isn't always in the best time zones for everyone. Qualifying for me is at 5 a.m., but, we'll make it through. We'll make it through. Okie dokes then. Ladies and gentlemen, track temperature is 39 degrees, air temperature is 31.5 degrees. It is nice and hot, and these conditions are very, very different to what we had in Bahrain in pre-season testing when McLaren looked good. Like, McLaren looked like they had a nice, healthy lead over everyone else when the temperatures were slightly colder and the track surface was super duper abrasive as it is in Bahrain. And now here we are in Melbourne, and it's just going to be ever so slightly different, and we don't know who is going to have the the upper hand with with the change in track temperature, with the change in track surface. It's going to be very interesting to find out which team it comes out on top. So we are now there we go, 10 seconds away from the green light at the end of the pit lane. In fact, we've already got one of the drivers queuing up at the end of the pit lane. That is fantastic. I think that's Oliver Behrman. Yeah, I think it's Behrman, because he's lost a bit of running, not taking part in free practice too. So it makes sense for him to be coming out onto the track nice and early. We should be getting some team radios coming through on the right hand side of the screen as well. So that is fantastic. And all right, there we go. Oliver Behrman makes his way out onto the circuit. Brilliant. Is the new camera for the season? I don't remember any view of this faces. No, I think we did have this camera. It just wasn't used particularly often, but there was always a camera that looked back onto the drivers' faces. Yeah. All right, Hamilton, Piastri, Leclerc, everyone making their way out onto the circuit. They're all just doing their final checks. They will have done some setup changes overnight. All of the teams will have. They will have analysed the data, find out where they are weakest, and then go and make some changes to the car. So now they're going to come out, make sure everything works as expected. In fact, look at this. Everyone's coming out on a set of hard tyres. Behrman's on mediums. Everyone else is on hards. And I guess everyone's trying to get a feel for the hard tyres before they use them in the race tomorrow. How many laps will they last? Will we have to do a 2-stop for the race tomorrow? Will there only be a 1-stop? It really depends on how long these hard tyres last in these warm temperatures. So yeah, the team's coming out now and checking how those tires wear out. Track temperature, of course, will be lower tomorrow, given the fact that it is expected to rain. But nonetheless, useful information. You might as well have some running from hard tires in hot temperatures rather than no running whatsoever. And yeah. All right. Hadjar's out on track. Sonoda's out on track. Norris is as well. Brilliant. Not everyone is coming out onto the circuit right away, though. Given it is FP3, so a couple of drivers still haven't even got into the cars yet. All right. Here comes Behrman then. He's immediately gone out and is doing some fairly quick laps here. By the looks of it, purple in the first and second sector. Of course, he's the first one to do the first and second sector, so let's not get too excited. The Haas are going to win the championship, but yeah, good start from Behrman. He's just got to make up for some lost time, to be honest, after that crash yesterday. Oh my god, no, Behrman, there's a yellow flag at turn number 11. No way he has just crashed that one. There's a red flag deployed. Oh no, Oliver Behrman, no way you have just gone and done that. He's in the gravel trap. I don't think he's damaged the car by any significant margin, but yeah, how is he? Oh no, bro. The Haas mechanics just shaking their head now, and Behrman has just gone and stuck it into the barriers. Hopefully there's not too much damage, but if he's crashed the back of the car into the barriers again, that could be more gearbox damage and more engine damage. And you got to feel for the guy. He did so fantastically when he subbed in for Ferrari, and when he subbed in for Haas, he did a brilliant job and didn't crash the car, and with a very limited practice delivered some great performances. But now here in Melbourne, one crash in FP3 is now spun out. One crash in FP1, and he's now spun out in FP3. The tyres probably weren't fully warmed up. He makes his way towards turn number 11, gets onto the brakes, turns in, and oh no, he's just touched the grass on entry. Okay, he hasn't at least damaged the car. He hasn't gone backwards into the barrier, which is a good sign. However, he is beached there in that gravel trap, which is not ideal. Yeah. All right. I'm gonna have a quick sip of water, but yeah, we've got a red flag out as of now, and yeah, not ideal really for Behrman. And also, I'm not sure if you cause a red flag, I don't think you're actually allowed to take part in the rest of the session, because his car is going to be put on a sort of back of the lorry, and then it's going to be driven back into the pit lane. But I don't know if Behrman will actually be allowed to drive that car. So yeah, that is not the best start, to be honest. I'm just going to, in fact, I'm just going to close the team radio transcription thing and restart it, just so we get the team radios coming through once the drivers are out on track, because I don't think it had updated by that point. But this is the thing with the rookies, you're bound to get red flags and yellow flags like this very often. And well, you just got to enjoy it, really. We don't always get as much chaos, and I'm sure in the race tomorrow, if it starts raining, it's going to be super duper tricky for Behrman, for all of the rookies, really. On a street circuit where you have where there are so many white painted lines, the chance of making a mistake is so high. Yeah, it's incredible, really. Right, let me just I'll be back in just a second. I'm just going to restart the team radios. Now, is this the yips or is the car compromised? No, I don't think the car will be compromised. It was purely his own mistake. While turning into turn number 12, he clipped the grass on the entry, and as we know, we've seen this happen multiple times. If you clip the grass, you will be spinning out, and yeah. Too much pressure, yeah, it could be too much pressure, really. But the thing is, when he was jumping up from Formula 2 to Formula 1, that was arguably a lot more pressure than it was right now. So we shall see, we shall we'll see how he deals with it. This is, of course, the first race of the season. We've still got a lot more time to see if this is just a one-off occurrence or if Behrman is going to be constantly crashing. Yeah. Also, Richard, thank you for the email. I've just got your reply, and yeah, I'll take into account what you've just said. I'm just not going to reply to your email straight away, of course, since I am streaming. But yeah, so if you guys do want to get F1 TV Pro, I'd go ahead suggest that you use my link. Get a nice little. I am sponsored by them after all, and I do get a little kickback every time you guys do buy something from the F1 TV store, and yeah, there's a free trial currently running for F1 TV Pro and F1 TV Premium as well. So you get the full 4K F1 footage, everything live, all of the team radios, all of the onboards, everything that you could really want, to be honest, and all in 4K as well. It's all on a free trial for the Australian Grand Prix. So if you guys are interested, for getting it for the whole season, if you could do that while using my link, that helps out the channel immensely. All right. Well, yeah, hygiene is probably going to make an appearance. Yeah, and indeed, we're going to. There's probably going to be a phone to Gene Haas, just to say that hopefully we don't crash all the time. In fact, Behrman hasn't done any damage to the car. There might be a bit of a damaged floor, but apart from that, he should be fine in terms of this little spin out into the gravel today. We'll see how he does in the. In qualifying once it rolls around, but the crane has picked up the car and it's taking it off the track very, very shortly. All right. Yeah, for any of you just joining us now, Oliver Bearman crashed at turn number 11. Well, didn't crash, he spun out while turning into turn number 11, and that is why we have got a red flag. We've just got a message from race control. Session is restarting in 1 minute's time. So, yeah, no need to worry. We're going to have green flag conditions in about either 11 seconds or in 1 minute and 11 seconds. So not too long now before we... Oh, there we go. Yeah, green flag. Track is green flag at the end of the pit lane. DRS is enabled. And yeah, we should get some running very, very shortly in the next 50 seconds or so. All right. Ollie will be gone by the summer break, I think. Well, maybe you will, but I have a little bit more faith in Oliver Bearman, mainly just because of the fact that he did manage to step in on 3 occasions last year and managed to deliver fairly decent performances. It wasn't like he was slow or anything. He was quick enough in that Ferrari seat when he drived for Ferrari, and then quick enough in the Haas seats when he drive for Haas 2 times. So I don't think his pace will be an issue. The question is, will his crashes become an issue? Because this is the thing with rookies. Often, they are fairly quick, and they manage to keep up a reasonable level. Like we saw with Colapinto as well. Colapinto was keeping up with Albon pretty well. However, if the crashes become too frequent, especially when you're at a small team like Haas, like Williams, where they don't have infinite numbers of budget, it can cause huge problems, and you could be seeing the door earlier than expected. And yeah, it's a bit of an unfortunate scenario, but it's also a reality. You can't keep crashing the car all the time, otherwise you will end up just, bankrupting the team. Yeah. All right, we are back. Drivers back out onto the track. We got the Astons coming out as well for their first laps of the day. Jack Doohan makes an appearance as well. Ocon out on some softs. Doohan as well. The Haas appeared problematic to drive, at least that's what some commentators felt. Interesting, okay. Well, I don't know, you have to give Bearman a bit of leeway. He is in his rookie season. And also, the thing was, the Haas could be difficult to drive, but this one was very clearly a mistake from Oliver Bearman's part by just clipping the grass on the entry. Yeah. All right. Also, folks, if you are interested in joining the F1 Fantasy League for the channel, the link is in the description, or if you want to type the code in, the code is at the top right of the screen, P3Z6. You can copy it out later. But that's the link to join the F1 Fantasy League for the channel. All right. What else have we got going on here? I hope I'm wrong, just to be clear, but I've got a sinking feeling that this will be Musical Chairs 2025. Maybe. Lawson hasn't given a whole lot of hope in the first couple of practice sessions that he'll be able to deliver. A lot of people have just called him Sergio Perez 2.0, and we'll see if his seat gets replaced nice and quickly, or if they at least wait one full season before giving someone else a shot. Isaac Hadjar looks to be matching Yuki Tsunoda fairly well, which is, very good considering Isaac Hadjar's only just done a test or two in a Formula 1 car. Of course, he did do pre-season testing, but apart from that, he's got up to speed fairly quickly to compete against Tsunoda, and if he continues on with that pace and Liam Lawson continues underperforming, I switch a break coming up in the mid-season. However, this is exactly what they did in 2019. You know, Daniel Ricciardo left in 2018 at the end of the season, and then for 2019 they got Pierre Gasly in, and he wasn't able to deliver as quick as they would have liked. And then halfway through the season, they're like, right, well, Gasly isn't performing, so let's switch him out and put Alex Albon in. And Albon couldn't perform because, you know, they put him in halfway through the season, not a proper prep really. And then, yeah, I think the same thing might happen again. And you get two underprepared rookies against Max Verstappen, and both of them inevitably get their careers destroyed. Okay. We've had our first couple of laps, in fact, on the board now. Jack Doohan on a set of softs with the 1 minute 19.2. Nothing blisteringly quick. But, yeah, he has put a time on the board, and we've got Esteban Ocon as well, a 120.0, 8 tenths back on the board as well. Alright, we've got 3,300 people tuning into live stream. Folks, if you haven't hit the like button, please be sure to do so. It really does help out the channel. It's hugely appreciated. I don't know why the team radios aren't working today. I shall give it another refresh later on. But by the looks of it, not the team radios don't seem to be working today for whatever reason. So yeah, might just be an issue on my end, or it might not be. Yeah. We'll keep an eye out. To see why the team radios aren't working or not. When is qualifying? Qualifying will be in 15 minutes. And let's see. Well, it's not 15 minutes exactly. It'll be in... It will be in 3 hours and 15 minutes. That is when qualifying will begin. Yeah. All right, 3 hours 15, that's when quali gets underway. So not long now, not long, folks. So we've been waiting 80 days. We can wait another 3 hours and we'll be able to find out finally which team will be the fastest, at least for the first race of the season. I'm sure it's going to change by the time we get to the second race, but such is the ways of Formula One. Yeah, oh, hello, you guys can see my mouse here. Yeah, nothing important to be honest. We'll see if the team radios come through later on. The quali will not be on this stream; it'll be on this channel. Once this session ends, it will take you over to the qualifying stream. If you guys go ahead and just press the like button on that, press the reminder button, and yeah, that'll be I'll be streaming for the qualifying 30 minutes before it starts. So not long, to be honest. Not long until we get underway. Liam Lawson on a fresh set of soft tyres. He's in fact slightly up on Jack Doohan's time in his first sector. However, Max Verstappen is setting multiple purple mini sectors here, and I suspect him to absolutely destroy Lawson's first sector time. Lawson in the first sector at 27.6, Max Verstappen at 27.0, 6 tenths faster in the first sector alone, and this is why he is a 4-time world champion, and Liam Lawson is a rookie. Yellow in the middle sector for Liam Lawson. He's backed out of his lap anyway after making a bit of a mistake. We'll see what Verstappen can do on his full flying lap. Verstappen's back. Well, we'll see. You know, they were claiming that they were down on pace yesterday. However, you know, I never believe them because if you read all of the headlines, every single team claims that they're not going to be the fastest and they're not going to be winning the race. So who do you believe? Because someone in the end has to win the race. And for now, it looks like Max Verstappen's got some serious pace, 1.5 seconds quicker than Doohan. That's to be expected. But a 117.6 on a fresh set of soft tyres there to start out his times in free practice 3. Lawson had engine troubles and had to pit. Oh yeah, he did actually. He did, yeah. He just got told over the radio, just come back into the pit. Lawson asked, "Is it major?" And he just got told, "Just come back into the pit lane now." So fair enough. That's what's going on with Liam Lawson. I'm just gonna give the radios another refresh. Surely, we can get some team radios coming through, and we can get a little bit more information about what's going out on track. I think last year's pole time was a 1:15.9, if I'm not mistaken. So I will double check that one, and yeah, but I think it was a 1:15.9. So we've still got a ways to go really for the drivers to bring out the full performance. They're still sandbagging a little bit, as I would say. What happened to Ocon? Nothing much. Ocon's driving away. No, yeah, Ocon seems to be doing fine. I think he'll just be getting a 10-second penalty because his teammate crashed, of course. So it makes perfect sense for Ocon to be getting the 10-second penalty. Okay, I guess I can update the fastest lap counter. I'm going to have to get ready to update it over the qualifying session. So I will actually update that. So just give me a sec, folks. Let me look at the pole position time for the Australian Grand Prix from last year. I think it was a 1:15.9 though. Yep, a 1:15.915. So we are still, how much are we away? 1.7 seconds away from the pole time last year, and the cars have got around about 1 second faster as well. So we've still got a lot of type performance to expect from these drivers. I'm just going to get rid of that code there from the top right, and let's go put Max Verstappen with 1 fastest lap. Fantastic. Let's just make that ever so slightly smaller and put that back there. Okay, brilliant. Also, yeah, as you guys can see on the bottom right of the screen, occasionally there will be an F1 TV advert that just pops up. There'll be no sound from it, of course, but with of course I disable all the adverts on YouTube, so as a slight bit of a compromise, I am sponsored by F1 TV, and there'll be a little advert that plays in the bottom right, only blocking the team radios when they are actually working. So yeah, hopefully that doesn't bother you guys too much. The adverts play, I think, every 8 minutes or so, 8 minutes, 10 minutes, something like that. I forgot what the timer I set for it was. But yeah, F1 TV has got a promotion running, 1 free trial weekend, so you guys can sign up and get to watch the Formula One for free for the Australian Grand Prix if it works in your respective country. And yeah, if you get the full yearly package for F1 TV Pro or F1 TV Premium, it really helps out the channel. And because I get a little kickback off it. So if you guys are thinking of getting it and getting the full yearly thing, or even just the free trial, I'd suggest that you guys click on my link and then go ahead and use it. It really does help out the channel. Okie dokes, we got Piastri up to the top of the times. I'm going to have my work cut out for me here, updating this fastest lap counter. But Piastri, his fastest lap goes up. His counter goes up by 1 as well. Very nicely done from Oscar Piastri. Didn't Doohan get a fast lap earlier? Yeah, Doohan did. However, I'm only going to be counting the top 4 teams because realistically, Doohan getting a fastest lap is not the most relevant things in the world. At least for, when we're trying to find out who's going to have the quickest qualifying pace. And I'll also be updating the fastest lap counter, throughout Q1, Q2, Q3, and I also will be doing it during the race as well. It's nice to keep track of. Yeah. All right, we got 4,000 people tuned into the live stream. Thank you everyone for tuning in. If you haven't hit the like button, please be sure to do so. Hugely helps out the channel. And yeah, thank you everyone for tuning in. Hope you guys are enjoying the coverage. And if you guys are new to the channel as well, I'll be commentating all of the free practice sessions, all of the qualifying sessions, and all of the races for this season in Formula One. We are the biggest Formula One streaming channel on YouTube, as yeah, if I remember correctly, yeah, I think we were definitely that last season. I think there might be a Spanish. There might be a Spanish channel that's slightly bigger than my channel, but at least in terms of English channels, this is the biggest one. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoy, and I'll be commentating all season long. And there we go. Finally, we get the team radios coming through. Brilliant, fantastic. Alrighty. Yeah, we are the biggest channel in English. Okay, who do you support in Formula One? Well, I am a bit of a neutral supporter here. I'm a big fan of Max Verstappen. Not Max Verstappen. I'm a big fan of Sebastian Vettel. I said Max Verstappen accidentally there because I was a bit updating his fastest lap counter to 2. But no, my favourite driver is Seb Vettel. And since he's retired, I really haven't supported anyone else. I've supported Alonso here and there because he took Vettel's seat, but yeah, I'm a very big fan of just all of the action that's been going on in the last season. If you had to make me decide, then I'd probably just support Alonso or maybe Tsunoda or Piastri. I'm not particularly sure, but just a big fan of all of the action, to be honest with you guys. Okay, George Russell up into second place there. Nice lap there from him. Everyone really coming out on soft tyres here. We're getting the soft tyre runs, quality simulations coming through as we build up to qualifying, especially for the rookies here. It's going to be quite important because, they don't have the ability to at least just switch on and immediately do qualifying laps like some of the more experienced drivers do. They need some time to slowly build up to the pace, and that's what we'll be seeing, I suspect, from a lot of the rookies. They'll be told over the radio now, slowly start building up the pace. They'll slowly take more and more fuel out of the car and turn the engine mode up slightly more and more, and that's the plan for the rookies, and we'll just have to wait and see how they cope and if any of them make any mistakes. We've got Behrman's already made his mistake. He's currently in the pit lane. He won't be taking part in the rest of the session, even though his car's totally fine and will be in a condition to take part, because he caused the red flag and he had to get picked up by the truck and be driven back to the pits. He's not allowed. He's not allowed to take part in the rest of the session. So he's only had the one lap that he did today, and then the FP1 session he did yesterday, and that's all the practice he's had for qualifying at his first race of the season. All right. Where can I watch F1 Live for free? You can watch F1 Live for free using the link in the description or in the pinned chat comment. Yeah, slightly crazy scenes out here. There's so much traffic at turn number 13. The track is very hot, 44 degrees, I think. Yeah, track is very hot. It's 43 degrees, actually, yeah. But thanks for the information, Kies. Very much is appreciated. Guys, if you don't know, Kies is one of our long-time channel moderators and watchers, really. I think back when I had like 1,000, 2,000 subscribers. That's when Kies has been watching, and Kies is currently at the Australian Grand Prix circuit, watching the race. So we're getting some live information out on track from Kies. Yeah. All right. Let's see what else is going out on the circuit. Antonelli set a brilliant lap there. Second place from him. Mercedes, nobody's really been talking about them. However, they have some serious pace by the looks of it, and getting fairly close to Max Verstappen is Kimi Antonelli, and it's looking good. Looking good. Charles Leclerc across the line, fourth place for him. Hamilton's just aborted his flying lap by the looks of it. And yeah, everyone's out. We're getting a lot of team radio messages coming through, just telling drivers to watch out for traffic. We're going to see a lot of this in the qualifying as well. This is a street circuit, fairly narrow, and the drivers will be instructed a lot over the radio. Oh, there's someone 5 seconds behind you, someone 2 seconds behind you, and to get out of the way. Oh, track temperature is saying qualifying is going to be 35 degrees air temperature with 47 degrees track temperature. 47 degrees track temperature is huge. Yeah, that is going to be... I don't know if the soft tyres will be able to cope with that. If I remember back to last year's race, for the race, a couple of our drivers did start the race out on the soft tyres. They were like, oh, maybe we'll get some, we'll gain some positions at the start of the race. We'll have quicker tyres on. But no, that is exactly not what happened. And they all had to come into the pits within 7 laps because there was so much tyre degradation on those softs. And now with 47 degree track temperature, I suspect we're going to see even more degradation, and the drivers having issues with locking up and overheating on their qualifying laps. We've just had one of the Alpines, in fact, here lock up going into turn number 3. I don't know exactly which driver it is because I think it's Pierre Gasly that locked up going into turn number 3, but the Alpine livery makes it a little difficult to distinguish which driver is driving. Their number is very, very faint. Sainz has come over the radio saying, can you check the left-hand side of the car? I might have touched the wall a very slight bit. As he was coming into turn number 3, the wall is right there on the entry to turn number 3. And Carlos Sainz did clip it ever so slightly. And yeah, but it's a very, very minor clip. And the car will be more than fine. The front suspension is sort of built to take those kinds of, that kind of damage. All right, we got Hamilton on a quali lap, purple in the first sector. Look at that, Max Verstappen is purple in the middle sector. Every single mini sector in the middle sector, Max Verstappen goes purple. Wow. Hamilton, let's see what he can do. Has he backed out of his lap? I'm not 100% sure what's going on there for Lewis Hamilton. But Tsunoda comes across the line, 12th place for him. And... Hulkenberg across the line as well, 7th place for him, brilliant job. Charles Leclerc just makes his way out of the pit lane after doing a practice start in the pit lane exit, and Lewis did back off out of his lap, so not ideal there. Hamilton still yet to complete one proper full flying lap. This was a fresh set of tyres as well, so it would have been nice to see what his pace is looking like. Max Verstappen backs out of his lap as well, not revealing his pace to everyone. In typical, first race of the season fashion, everyone will set a quick middle sector and then they'll all back off in the final sector. Yeah, Verstappen says the car was getting a bit loose, so him also complaining a little bit about the grip levels in the car. So we'll see. They'll continue making some setup tweaks here and there to try and maximize car performance. Alex Albon, brilliant lap from him. 2nd place from Alex Albon as of now. That Williams is looking extremely racy, and in the hands of Albon and Sainz, I suspect they're going to have a brilliant season this week. Not this weekend, this year. All right, Lewis has used 3 sets already. Oh, already has he? I did not know that. Yeah, I mean the teams do bring a lot of soft tyre sets. So I wouldn't worry too much, even if they are working. Even if he has used 3 sets, to be honest. I wish it was cooler. Praying for tomorrow to come quick because it's going to be pouring it down. Indeed, tomorrow the rain is still forecast. I think the percentage chance of rain has gone down a little bit, but rain is still forecast, and we should be getting a nice wet circuit greeting us tomorrow with some intermediate tyres. That'll be fantastic. Wait, Alex Albon has done that on a set of hard tyres. What? How has he done that? A 1:16.8 on a set of hard tyres. The hards are around 1 second of a lap slower than the soft tyres, to be honest. Well, to be fair, in these really hot track temperatures, the softs aren't going to be all that great because they will overheat. But if you take 1 second off Alex Albon's current lap time, that takes him to last year's pole time. He goes 1/10 quicker than last year's pole time. If he was using the soft tyres. Currently he wasn't, so we don't know the real pace of the Williams on the softs, but that is ridiculous, really ridiculous. I mean, everyone is sandbagging, you can tell, because their current lap times are slower than last year's pole, and the cars have definitely got at least a second quicker. So everyone is sandbagging a little bit here and there. Charles Leclerc currently on a flyer here. Green in the first and second sectors. Here he is coming towards turn number 13. Hamilton purple in the first sector. He's done his recharge and has gone for another lap. Yeah, alright, here comes Charles Leclerc, then across the line he goes, second place for him, and he goes 30 milliseconds back from Max Verstappen. We've got Lewis Hamilton still on a flyer here. He's going to get a bit of a tow from Antonelli as he heads towards turn number 11, of course the driver that replaced him at Mercedes, and still looking good here for Lewis Hamilton. So we'll wait and see as he comes and completes his lap. The car looking nice and stable as he comes towards turn number 14. Foot flat to the floor, right up to the barrier as he goes. And what's it going to be for Lewis Hamilton? Here he is across the line, and it's third place. He goes 1 millisecond back from his teammate. This is exactly what I'm talking about, folks. Look at this gap between the two drivers, the two Ferrari drivers, both of them fantastically quick. And guess what the difference is between in their lap time? 1 millisecond. This season is going to be incredible. Like, the gaps already in the top three are so close, and wow. Yeah, also, Liam Lawson is still in the pit lane. He had some engine issues. The team told him, oh, you've got some issues, you need to come into the pit lane. And no practice time. Liam Lawson already was on the back foot from yesterday, not quick enough. He said personally himself, just in the interview afterwards, being, oh, I'm just not quick enough, and lacking a bit of pace today. And the mechanics are still toiling away at the back of his car. The engine cover's off. They're still working on some things. And Lawson is not getting the practice that he needs to slowly build up to things. He hasn't done a proper... Well, he's done a couple of qualifying sessions, to be honest. He did drive the RB last year. But it would be, of course, much, much better if he was... taking part in all of the sessions with the Red Bull. Ooh, that was very, very close there between the Williams and the RB. One of the Williams drivers, I think it was Albon, was dangerously close to crashing into the side pod of Isaac Hadjar or Tsunoda. Not great there. Just a little bit of a miscommunication and not paying attention to mirrors, to be honest. Tsunoda comes across the line, 8th place for him on a set of hard tyres. Brilliant job there. The RB is looking fairly quick, to be honest. And yeah, and this is how you'd know for a fact that the Red Bull are sandbagging, because you've got the RBs on the hard tyres, which are around about a second slower than the soft tyres, and look at that pace difference between Tsunoda and Verstappen. It's only a quarter of a second. So yeah, once there's at least another 7/10 of pace for Max Verstappen that he can pull out the bag, and probably more, because he's still a ways away from last year's pole time. George Russell is on a quick lap here. Purple in the first sector, green in second sector. Across the line he goes. It is first position there for George Russell. He goes a quarter of a second ahead of Max Verstappen, revealing a little bit of pace there from the Merc team. Let me just update that fastest lap counter, but it's looking good here from George Russell. Looking good. All right. Yeah. We're still sandbagging here, folks. Honestly, I can't believe it. The Formula One teams, that's all they want to do. They just sandbag for the whole of pre-season testing, sandbag for all of the practice sessions. I mean, it's not long now. We're only going to have to wait, 2 hours and 50 minutes. 2 hours and 50 minutes till we get underway for qualifying. So not long that we're going to have to wait, to be honest. But yeah, science said that they're slower on the softs than the mediums yesterday. The softs compound changed a bit from last year. Yeah, to be fair, the soft compound did change. However, you just have to take into account that the cars are around about a second a lap quicker. So I still think they should be. They still should be fine. 2 hours and 50 minutes in the heat, I might pass away. Yeah, well, you need to get one of those really big hats. I forgot what they're called, but it's like I don't know. I don't actually know what the name for the really big hats are, but the ones that give you a whole bunch of shade. Hopefully that'll help with the extreme sunshine. Sombrero. I mean, isn't that the Mexican one? Isn't that the? I'm not sure, to be honest. But yeah, probably just a sun hat. I'm not sure what the proper name is. It's the one that the like explorers typically wear. Like if you imagine a typical explorer outfit. Not outfit, but like whatever uniform outfit. I'm not sure what the right word is, but that's the one I'm thinking of. Lando Norris across the line, second place for him. He goes quicker than Verstappen, still 2/10 back from George Russell. All right, bucket hat or an umbrella, but the clouds. It's not even that sunny. It's just warm. Yeah, fair enough. Actually, I can see. I'm just watching the onboards here, and yeah, the clouds are out. It's just extremely hot. When is the race tomorrow? The race tomorrow. So if you guys are setting your alarms, in 26 hours' time is the race tomorrow. So whatever time it is now from where you are in the world, in 2 hours from now, or 1 hour 50 from now, that will be the start time for the race tomorrow. And it is raining. It's raining for tomorrow. It's not raining for qualifying. It will be raining for the race, though. So, yeah, go ahead and set your alarms, because this race is definitely going to be worth watching. We're going to have 5 rookies, 6 rookies, even 7 if you count Fernando Alonso, and with some rain falling and such a close field like this, we're going to have a spectacular Grand Prix. Yeah. Also, folks, if you haven't hit the like button, please be sure to do so. It hugely helps out the channel, and hopefully we can get towards 1,000 or 1,500 likes by the end of the session. That would very much be appreciated. We've got 5,000 people currently watching the live stream, which is brilliant. All right. Lawson's having some issues with his power unit. Yeah, he's still having those issues. Not made it out onto the circuit. The Red Bull mechanic still working away, and not the best start for the season for Liam Lawson. To be honest, not the best start. Okay. Yeah, I'm just going to have a quick sip of water. I'll be back in just a second, folks. All right, all of the drivers back into the pits. They will be coming out for the final, their final qualifying runs, building up to everything, most likely on a fresh set of tyres as well. So yeah, they'll be coming out onto those to do those runs in no time now. So yeah, just hang in there, folks, while everyone makes their way back into the pits, does some refueling, puts on a brand new set of soft tyres, and they'll be out soon enough. Lawson is sat out the car. The car is up on stilts. The nose cone is off, and the mechanics are underneath the car. They're to the side of the car. They're to the back of the car. Everywhere. It is entirely swarmed, and it's not got some tyres on it. So it'll be tight for if Lawson can make it out for the end of the session. Verstappen makes his way out onto the circuit with a fresh set of soft tyres. Looks like we're going to get some quick laps here from the current reigning world champion. Favourite rookie for this year? Well, I would say Liam Lawson. Why not? He's got a tough challenge ahead of him to beat Max Verstappen, but my reasoning for saying why Liam Lawson is my favourite rookie is purely because his racing idol is Lightning McQueen, and I would say the exact same. There's Sebastian Vettel, and then there's Lightning McQueen for me personally. And Liam Lawson is a big fan of Lightning McQueen, so I'm a big fan of Liam Lawson. All right, Alex Albon, second place. Brilliant job there from Alex Albon. Green only in the final sector, and he was slower than his personal best in the first and second sector. And once again, folks, I hate to be talking about overheating, especially when we're in practice and in qualifying, but the drivers do have the potential to sort of back off a little bit in the first and second sectors and then attack really hard in the final sector, and they'll come out overall quicker in terms of lap time. And look at this, Albon and Sainz, they are split by mere milliseconds. Once again, the teammates are two very competitive teammates on the grid, and what are they, 23 milliseconds apart? Very, very close indeed. Okay, here we go then. What else have we got going on the circuit? Ooh, we've got Verstappen on a flying lap. Purple in the first sector for Max Verstappen, looking extremely racy indeed. And he's 1/10 up in the middle sector as well. Very, very nice. So now what can he do? He's got the final sector to contend with. Will his tyres overheat? Will he actually slow down in the final sector because his tyres are a little bit too hot? Oh, apologies for the mistake. Verstappen's 4/10 up on his middle sector delta. So 4/10 quicker than George Russell as he passes the middle sector line. He's now coming through the final corner, very, very close to the wall on the exit. And now here he comes across the line. What's it going to be for Max Verstappen? Purple in all three sectors. Just Piastri takes away that first sector purple, but he goes 4/10 of a second quicker than George Russell and is currently up now in first place. So, yeah, the lap times are clearly dropping. We are now 1/10 away from last year's pole time. Last year's pole time was a 1:15.9. Currently, we are at a 1:16.0 from Max Verstappen. Let's see what Piastri can do. He is on a flying lap now, now making his way towards turn number 12 and 13. The car rotating very, very nicely indeed. He might even get a little bit of a tow here from Gabriel Bortoleto as he comes down the start-finish straight. What's it going to be there for Piastri? Second place, 75 milliseconds back from Red Bull. This is as close as it was at the end of last season. Absolutely fantastic to watch. P1 Max, P20 Liam Lawson. I mean, it's not Liam Lawson's mistake, is it? Liam Lawson has got engine issues. It's not exactly his fault, but once again, it's not going to help the Sergio Perez 2.0, 2.0 reactions to Liam Lawson and his first race of the season. All right. Let's see now. Lando Norris is going to be making his way out the pit lane. He's going to be on a flying lap. Let's see what he can do. What's it going to be, folks? Who do you think will be getting the fastest lap in free practice 3? Will it be Max Verstappen? Will it be George Russell? He's on a quick lap here as he makes his way out of the final corner. Will he be able to dethrone Max Verstappen? Russell was previously top of the times. Let's see, what is it going to be now as he comes across the line? He backs off. He backs off as he comes across the start-finish line, hiding their pace once again. Great, thanks George Russell for hiding your pace. Oh, actually, sorry, he didn't back off. Apologies for that. He just didn't improve by a huge margin. Yeah, apologies for that little mistake there. It is a little bit late here, 2 a.m. of course in the UK. So apologies if I'm not right at the top of my game. We've got Lando Norris, purple in the first sector, and here he comes now through turns number 9 and 10. We saw his teammate go a little wide at turn number 10, bouncing over the curbs. Lando Norris gets pretty close to doing the exact same thing, to be honest. And now we've got him heading towards turn number 11 with half a tenth, up on his teammate. Half a tenth he is up on Max Verstappen. And let's see, what he can do as he comes across the start-finish line. He is really pushing that car to limit. The car looks fantastic. There is so much grip available by the looks of it. And he comes across the line, and look at that. Lando Norris backs out as he comes across the line, and he is 2 seconds slower in the final sector. Well, isn't that one interesting, isn't it? Yeah. Yeah, backs off, goes onto the grass. I mean, he backed off. He was going to back off anyway. I think doesn't want to reveal his pace. Not that it's going to matter, to be honest, because since qualifying is in 2 hours, it's not going to have any sort of real effect. Lewis Hamilton, let's have a look. He started out his flying lap and then backed off. Yeah, that's correct. Charles Leclerc still on his flyer, actually. Green in the first and second sector. Car is looking good for Charles Leclerc. Let's see what he can do. What you can do in the final sector. Also, track limits might be a little bit key here. I mean, Albon just bounced off the wall on turn number 11. Sainz comes across the line, goes ahead of his teammate by 6 milliseconds, so improves by a very, very small margin, and goes ahead of his teammate. Charles Leclerc comes across the line, and that's 6th place for him. Not a huge pace improvement there from Charles Leclerc as he switched onto a fresh set of soft tyres. In fact, Yuki Tsunoda is just behind him on the standings, so yeah, not ideal, but I'm sure the Ferraris are just hiding their pace. They looked fairly quick and on par with Red Bull yesterday, so yeah. All right. Oh, thank you for joining the channel member. Apologies, I don't know how to say your name. It's not even in the English alphabet. So yeah, apologies. But thank you very much for joining, becoming a channel member. Very much is appreciated. And thank you for helping out the channel. All right, we've got 5,500 people watching the stream. Folks, if you haven't hit the like button, please be sure to do so. Hopefully we can hit 1,000 likes by the end of the stream. Let me just change the like goal there. 1,000 likes, fantastic. And yeah, Antonelli as well matches George Russell's time by pretty much, and he is up into 4th place. We've got Williams in 5th and 6th position. It is looking extremely great for them. However, the Ferraris yet to set representative lap times, and the same can be said for Lando Norris. Yeah. All right, so here comes Piastri across the line. He goes a 10th quicker than Max Verstappen. Very nicely done. Let me update that fastest lap counter there. Piastri doing a brilliant job indeed. F1 Gramer, how are your grades looking? They're looking all right. Nothing too amazing. I did get my results back for my exams. They're good enough, really. I did pass everything, so quite pleased with that. And all right. So there we go. Piastri currently top of the times. Hamilton improves on his lap, but is still a 10th back from Charles Leclerc. And Leclerc's into the pits now with 7 minutes left of the session. We may get one more lap from the drivers, but we also might not. Yeah, are you going to do the qualify? I definitely am, folks. I will be commentating for qualifying as well. Lawson's battery wasn't charged. The engine is cooked. Interesting. I'm not. I don't know where your source for that is, but I will. Get a. I'll try and figure out what's happened to Lawson's engine. Your grades closer to Stroll or Alonso? Well, I can say for one subject, I definitely did have some results that were very similar to Lance Stroll. But for the rest, I've not been doing half bad. So I'd say Alonso then. Yeah. But anyway, let's get back to Formula 1. We've got 6 minutes and 40 seconds left of the session. We've got about half the grid out on the track. And Williams looked set to be the 5th fastest team on the grid. As of now, they look quicker than the Ferraris. I'm not going to buy into that. I think Ferrari still had too big of a pace advantage over the off season to suddenly be leapfrogged by Williams. But yeah, Williams are looking very, very good indeed, and it doesn't seem half bad that Carlos Sainz has moved to Williams now. Yeah, so. This should be a good season for him, and maybe he'll be able to even beat Lewis Hamilton on a couple of occasions. I'm sure if there's a battle between Carlos Sainz and Lewis Hamilton, it's going to be nice and feisty, to be honest, because, well, I'm sure Carlos still isn't totally happy about the fact that Lewis took his seat at Ferrari. Look at this, Lando Norris, purple in the final sector. Yeah, so as I said earlier, what did I say earlier actually? Oh yeah, Lando Norris backed off in the final sector on one of his previous quick laps, and now he has just gone and set a purple final sector. So all they're going to do now is stitch together Lando Norris's previous lap and then his final sector from this lap, and that'll be job done, and we'll find out what Lando Norris's real pace is like. Will you watch the F1 movie this year? Indeed, I will. I'll be watching the F1 movie as soon as. I'll be watching the F1 movie as soon as it comes out. To be honest, yeah, I might even make a reaction video to it on the channel. We'll have to wait and see. Charles Leclerc improves on his first sector. He goes half a tenth quicker than Piastri in the first sector. Verstappen goes 1/10 quicker than Piastri in the first sector. We are getting some final runs here at the end of Q3. Everyone, the times are tumbling. Oscar Piastri is 6 milliseconds slower than last year's pole time. Leclerc's ever so slightly down in the middle sector. Verstappen's still up in the middle sector, and it is looking very, very good here. Looks like Max Verstappen still has the pace, and Red Bull still has the pace. They're complaining a lot in the press conference yesterday, but of course you never buy into their complaining at the press conference, especially at the first race of the season. And Charles Leclerc across the line, look at that, 4th place for him. The top 4 drivers are from 4 different teams, and Max Verstappen was going so quickly, and guess what he's just done? He's just come into the pit lane once again, sandbagging all the way till the end of free practice 3. I mean, there's literally no point. Like, even if you do have a car that is 1 second faster than the entire rest of the grid, you might as well just show us in FP3. They're not going to be able to install an upgrade package between FP3 and quali anyway. So it literally doesn't matter. But alas, the Formula 1 teams don't understand such basic knowledge, and they'll be coming into the pits regardless of what I say. Yeah. Alright, George Russell, purple in the first sector, green in the middle sector. He's got Lewis Hamilton ahead of him for traffic, but Hamilton gets out of the way nicely, and we'll see what George Russell can do as he comes out the final corner. Is he going to back out of his lap again? Hopefully not. As he comes across the line, he improves, and look at that gap, folks. The top 3 drivers within 1/10 of a second. 39 milliseconds off Oscar Piastri's time. Max Verstappen, 81 milliseconds off Piastri. And I'm sure if Max Verstappen came across the line, he would actually be ahead of Piastri. So the gap is super duper close. Yeah. Alright, Max got a big snap of oversteer around turn number 11, but nothing he couldn't handle. Yeah, I mean, maybe he backed off because of that, but I suspect he just backed off because they don't want to reveal their pace, because he was still 2/10 up, even though he had a big snap of oversteer coming through turn number 11. So, oh no, 2 to 11. Turn number 11 is the final corner, is in the 3rd sector. So fair enough. Charles Leclerc's just come over the radio, said the car is very oversteery. Can we review a little bit what we're asking, because it doesn't inspire much confidence. Like, I've just paraphrased a little bit of what he said, but Charles Leclerc complaining the car's a little bit oversteery. And this is the thing, some drivers can deal with an oversteery car, but it's not the most confidence inspiring thing in the world. When you turn into a corner and you sort of feel that rear end just slide about ever so slightly, you're not really sure if it's going to stick on the next corner. Like, you don't have that same level of confidence that if you did, that if the rear end was properly stuck to the ground, that you would. So Yeah, I phrased that really badly. Apologies for that. But essentially, yeah, the drivers don't have as much confidence in an oversteery car than they do in an understeery car. So Leclerc's probably just asking them to either tone down the front wing angle or maybe knock the rear wing angle up 1 or 2 degrees, just to ensure that they have sufficient levels of grip as they go through the high-speed corners as well, because you do not want the rear end sliding through the high-speed corners. It becomes very, very tricky to manage. Alright folks, we are 1 minute away from the end of the session. Doesn't look like we're going to be getting too many more hot laps, to be honest with you. And if we are, everyone's going to abandon the hot lap before the end of the lap anyway. So thank you everyone for tuning in. It's been a pleasure commentating to you guys. The qualifying stream will start in 2 hours time. Qualifying itself will start in 2 hours and 30 minutes. It is going to be a fantastic qualifying session. The drivers are so close to each other in terms of performance. The teams are so close to each other in performance. And I cannot wait to find out what's going to happen. Hopefully Liam Lawson gets his engine issues fixed. Hopefully Behrman can do half decently in qualifying, even though he has only had FP1 to practice. But yeah, this qualifying session is going to be fantastic. This season is lining up to be one of the closest seasons we've had in a very, very long time. Thank you everyone for tuning in. Once again, if you haven't got F1 TV Pro and are thinking of getting it, there's a 1 week free trial, so I would suggest getting it now. And if you do get it, then please do use the link in the chat. It really does help out the channel. The link in the chat or the link in the description, either one works. Quali is in 2 hours. The quali stream is in 2 hours, and the quali itself is in 2 hours 30. I'm going to end the stream now. I'll take you over to the qualifying stream. If you guys could hit the like button on the qualifying stream, that would do absolute wonders for the channel. Hopefully, you know, we can hit 200k subs this year. That is the goal. So yeah, hitting the like button before the stream starts really helps. But yeah, it's been a pleasure commentating to you guys for this FP3 session, and I will see you in 2 hours time for qualifying. So I'm just going to end the stream now. I'll take you over to the qualifying stream. Just go ahead, press the reminder button, press the like button, maybe have a bit of a nap if the time zone's bad for you, but I will see you in 2 hours. Thank you very much.